what you do for the community and the opportunity to be the sheriff of Maricopa County. I want to speak for a moment briefly with my colleagues here. Regarding my colleagues, I'm honored today to have two of the representatives from the Board of Supervisors here to represent the board and to work with me. Since Election Day, we've had the chance to meet many times and start conversations relative to the important issues facing our county. And it's humbling as well as educational to have the chance to learn through their perspective and to look forward to working with the Board of Supervisors in a healthy way for the best interest of our county and all of our residents. And then I'd like to also thank Maricopa County Attorney Bill Montgomery. We've also met on many occasions to talk about ways that we can better improve the relationship to ensure that we are serving this community and protecting its interests as well as keeping the community safe. And I have enjoyed considerably these opportunities and look forward to working with my peers and colleagues, knowing that we're going to accomplish some great things on behalf of this county moving forward. Additionally, County Attorney Montgomery was kind enough to work with me to address some internal issues to ensure that our offices are working in collaboration to do what is best and to also address these quite substantial challenges that we face due to the federal mandate and the efforts to improve the quality of service from the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office. So I just want to thank them for attending today and showing support and the unity that we will show going forward, working on behalf of the residents. So thank you, gentlemen. I've had the chance, I've been asked many times about the transition. Is it difficult? I would tell you that it's challenging only because of the capacity of the transition. But it's not just challenging for me. I want to recognize the men and women within the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office because it is a challenge for them also to see new leadership. But they have been nothing less than professional, kind and patient, and excited about our conversations and the chance to refocus as well as redefine who the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office is, representing those individuals as well as the organization in our county. So I have been honored with the opportunity to meet with them. I am extremely impressed. There are some very talented people in the organization that have great ideas and are excited about the chance to share their ideas and be part of developing some new projects in partnership with the community. And I look forward to learning with them and showing patience as they've shown for me as we get to know each other better. Today, I'm here to speak about some of the individuals that I've selected to work in partnership with me in the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office, holding both executive level as well as mid-management positions. These are men and women that I've known in a professional capacity, many times in a personal capacity also, for many years. They are exemplary not only in their skill set, but when making these decisions, one of the most important characteristics for me was their ethical commitment, their attitude about not only being strong as it relates to the responsibilities, but showing humility as it relates to this transition where individuals that are new to the organization all become one within the organization as well as myself. So when I selected these men and women, it was definitely not due to a shortage of those interested. I received contacts from people not only locally from all different parts of the state, but even nationally who expressed an interest to be a part of this. And I made my choice based off of those that I truly believed were best equipped to work with me and the men and women in the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office to move the organization forward and make it a place of pride across the state. This is an extremely diverse group, not only due to skill set, backgrounds, but even personal interests. I wanted to choose individuals that did not reflect who I was, but reflected similar attitudes and beliefs, but had the ability and the backgrounds to challenge me to be better, to make sure that we were accountable to the men and women of the organization as well as to the members of the community, and that every day we were striving to improve the organization and the services on behalf of this community to keep it safe. As I expressed during my campaign, the priorities will solely be law enforcement. We will be focused on ways to not only keep this community safe and enforce the laws within the letter of the law, ethically and with integrity, but we will be working hard to renew relationships with the entire community and specifically those who have had questions, concerns, or even been disappointed by law enforcement because of actions that fell short of expectations. This group will bring that to the organization and will work well with those who are already in the organization as we become one. I'm going to go through the list of these individuals that I've selected to work with me and a little bit about their backgrounds. And I know the most pressing question is who my chief deputy will be. My chief deputy will be Ben Henry. Ben is a retired commander from the Phoenix Police Department with 25 years of service. He's worked in all capacities to include investigations, internal affairs. He's been a commander at the street level, and he possesses this innate ability to make those around him better while holding himself and others accountable. He is extremely disciplined, but his background is so diverse that he has the strength of his experience to give a holistic view on what is needed and then to implement and oversee those needs. I'm confident that working with Ben, we'll be able to establish a new foundation in the sheriff's office where everyone will embrace it and feel good about who they are and the sacrifice they're making on behalf of this community. In addition to Ben, I've created a new position. It's called the Chief of Staff, which does not currently exist. The Chief of Staff is going to be Stephanie Cherney. Stephanie is an expert in international as well as national compliance, ethics, and government investigations. Her job is to work with Ben in implementing the federal mandate, holding us accountable, but also ensuring long-term health. So as important as it is for us to get past this mandate, to save the taxpayers the burden of cost as we try to restore the trust and confidence in our community and abide by those rules, but the long-term health. This is not just about a short window in time. This is about establishing a foundation moving forward for many years. Stephanie's expertise is dearly needed to work in partnership as a liaison on my behalf with Mr. Montgomery in his office to ensure that we have constant communication, that we are in coordination, and that we're adhering to the rules as required. I'm going to be bringing an additional assistant chief. His name is Matt Giordano. Matt is also retired from law enforcement. He had 23 years of experience in diverse capacity. His strength is building a relationship with the community, but it's also the oversight and management of patrol and investigative resources. Matt will be an asset, and we're very fortunate to have him coming on board. And he has the skill set to bring men and women around him together to work more collectively on our behalf. A unique position, which you'll have communication with often, is going to be my Director of Public Information. His name will be familiar to you. It's Mark Casey. Mark recently retired from Channel 12 after 30 years in the industry. I selected Mark from a group of very talented men and women with that expertise because Mark is unequivocally committed to governmental transparency. He's committed to professionalism and his ability to establish a strong foundation to ensure that we are communicating outwardly as well as internally to our stakeholders within the organization is exceptional. So I thought it was important to bring someone in who had that skill set and can better the organization by bringing in privatized expertise while still holding the line and ensuring that we are protecting the interests of law enforcement on how we communicate what we communicate to protect investigations while still educating our community on needs as well as concerns. Ken Menser, 28-year veteran in law enforcement, now retired, is going to be coming with us, and he is going to be in the Office of Community Development. Ken has a very diverse background in law enforcement also, but what's most appealing about Ken is his investment in our community. So he's going to be overseeing community relations and other aspects that are of outreach, but that's something that he's been personally invested in for his entire life. So his comprehensive background in law enforcement is complemented by his appreciation for those that we serve and his willingness to develop and enhance relationships. My Director of Community Relations will be J.C. Collins. J.C. was in law enforcement for 28 years. He was actually a top cop in the nation. He received that award many years ago. After retiring, he went to work for the Department of Education. He's a master's degree in education, and he worked in grants and programs on behalf of students throughout the state. His job is going to be to strengthen our relationship with the many unique and diverse cultures and communities within Maricopa County. JC is a very strong, dedicated, disciplined law enforcement professional. At the same time, he's probably one of the most affectionate and compassionate men that I know. So that balance, and he's as big as a house, the balance between the two is going to be quite impressive on what he will do on behalf of this organization, extending our outreach. His strength is in the African American community, and I look forward to seeing him lead in ways where we can restore relationships with the young men and women in our community who are concerned about the relationship and the way that we communicate as law enforcement professionals. Ron Gomez, retired law enforcement professional, 26 years, currently the president of the Arizona National Latino Police Officers Association. He will be in charge of outreach also, working under J.C. Collins. His job is to not only work to restore relationships and to do community outreach, but to aggressively pursue recruitment in the Hispanic community. If we want to make our relationship better, we have to see each other in partnership and as one. That means that we need to see our community through human eyes, and the men and women we serve need to see us through the same vein, as well as the young adults. So I think it's important to put strong people in leadership where they can restore these relationships and work together so that we have a mutual respect and appreciation for what we're trying to accomplish. Last on my list today, doesn't mean there might not be additional individuals that I bring on board, but the last person I'll speak of is Shannon Shale. Shannon is a 27-year veteran of the United States, drew a blank there, DEA, and his background has been in international investigations. He's been an agent for 28 years and worked in all different capacities, internationally as well as nationally. The last several years with DEA, he oversaw training as well as recruitment. His strengths are in his relationships with other law enforcement agencies. His job will be to build and work on comprehensive programs to address the constant issue and challenge we face in drug addiction in our community. Shannon is an asset who will bring a unique perspective coming from the federal government, but his relationships with all of our law enforcement agencies puts him in a place where he can not only pursue funding opportunities to support our community, but to develop aggressive programs so that the young men and women who are challenged with addiction or the decisions that they face as it relates to drug addiction, to find ways that we can be proactive. We will never arrest our way out of issues such as opiate and heroin abuse. We have to be aggressive on enforcement for those who threaten the safety of our children, and at the same time, we have to be willing to learn from them and work with them to educate so that they make decisions for their health first, and we keep our children safe. So collectively, that's the team that I put together. And I want to again emphasize, this is not because I believe there's a lack of talent in the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office. Quite the opposite. There's considerable talent. And now we have the opportunity to refocus our efforts in ways to better serve the needs of this community. I am supplementing that talent, and now we become one organization, one office, one family, committed to the families within this community to keep everyone safe. So I see this today as a way to supplement what we have as an organization and to get off the ground with a strong foundation related to my vision of the mission from this office on behalf of those that we serve. So thank you very much. Before I answer any questions, I'm actually going to turn it over and allow County Attorney Bill Montgomery, as well as the supervisors, to speak if they'd like.
Well, good afternoon. I just want to underscore for the citizens of Maricopa County that the leadership team they put together on November 8th is one that will be focused and dedicated to continuing to provide them with world-class service. And when it comes to the relationship between the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office and the Maricopa County Attorney's Office, both Sheriff-elect Penzone and I are committed to maintaining a professional relationship and carrying out our shared public safety mission on behalf of the residents of Maricopa County, so that the historic lows in crime which they enjoy today will continue into the future. My Civil Services Division staff have worked closely with the team that Sheriff-elect Penzone has put together to help bring them on board in coordination with county management. And that relationship and fostering those channels of communication right now is something that I expect to continue for the benefit of both the County Sheriff's Office and the County Attorney's Office. Thank you.
Thank you. For the record, Supervisor Steve Gallardo, Maricopa County Board of Supervisors, District 5, Southwest Maricopa County. Just want to say thank you and congratulations to Mr. Penzone. I look forward, as a supervisor, working with him. I look forward to not only continuing to build a much stronger bridge between the Latino community and the sheriff's office, and of course the rest of the communities in Maricopa County. I think it's important for us to realize that changes within the sheriff's office have to move forward. I think we know we need to all work together and to be able to provide the best possible service to the people of Maricopa County. So, Mr. Penzone, I look forward to working with you and look forward to moving the sheriff's office forward.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here and taking this opportunity as we look forward to 2017. In behalf of Chairman Hickman, who is ill and not able to be with us today, I just want to express our gratitude to the transition team and the work that they've done in anticipating the needs as we move forward in 2017. It's a new day in the county. Certainly, as you look at the roster of elected officials, Michael Jeans, with Bill Montgomery right behind him, are the most senior of our elected officials. We have longest serving, best looking and most senior is what I meant to say, longest serving. So we certainly have a lot of new faces and new opportunities that are before us. What we have not forgotten and what we will never forget is the fact that 52.5% of our budget, your money, is spent in criminal justice and public safety issues. Just as we've worked closely with Sheriff Arpaio and his command staff and his executive team, we're committed to do just the same with Sheriff-elect Penzone to make sure that we keep Maricopa County safe. It's a great place to live, to work, and to raise our families. It's imperative that we work together. You've seen a different outcome from the county in recent years in many respects. We intend to continue to build upon that. We're grateful for your support and your interest, and we certainly wish you a very happy holidays and look forward to 2017. Thank you.
All right, I'm happy to take a few questions if anyone has any.
The Sheriff's Office, one of the big criticisms of it has been how it spends its money. And can you just talk a little bit about who in your transition team and on your cabinet will look at these financial and fiscal issues to make sure that we don't have the same kind of problems we've had?
Sure. I can tell you this, that the CFO, one of the chiefs, Leanne Bone, who was assigned to the Sheriff's Office a few years ago, does an exceptional job. Her disciplines are amazing, and she has been one of the leaders in the effort to ensure that there is clarity relative to the budget. We will be not only going through that budget on a regular basis. I expect myself as well as Chief Henry and my Chief of Staff to visit with Leanne on a regular basis, but one of the things I want to implement is an audit to ensure that if there is anything that is not clear on my behalf as I take over the office, that we understand what dollars are where, how they are being spent, and if that's appropriate, and at the same time identifying cost savings. So I will share with you something that was told to me many years ago when I was working with an organization. If you're not paying attention to the dollars, you're not paying attention to the organization. That will be a priority for me to ensure that I understand how we are spending taxpayer dollars and that the responsibility is mine to make decisions as a good steward on the taxpayers' behalf. So it will take some time. It's a considerably large budget with a lot of working parts, but it is a top priority for me. Well, I will tell you this, my number one concern relative to groups is the county as a whole. But I truly believe law enforcement's most important relationship to focus on is that of the young men and women in our community, those in the teens into the early 20s who are most involved or affected, impacted by crime, both as victims as well as often cases as suspects. That relationship is our future. And because we are challenged right now, you see across the nation with incidents, whether they be malice, bad judgment, or misrepresented, law enforcement is being viewed through a lens that oftentimes is not reflective of the true character of the men and women doing the job. So I believe that if we focus in that demographic and not neglect other areas, that if we can build a relationship based on trust and transparency as well as mutual accountability, those who commit crimes need to be held accountable. Those in law enforcement, when they make errors or malice acts, need to be held accountable. So for me, an important focus will be the young men and women in our community.
Can you clarify, was anybody that you named to your administration from MCSO, or is this basically a team of outsiders?
No, I wouldn't call this cleaning house. These are supplemental pieces where there were vacancies or other pieces, but there are no employees that I named that actually originated from the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office. There are those in place already that hold positions that, that are stable, but these folks are all new additions. Well, I think I've always been honest and direct about the fact that this has to be a balance. It has to be a balance of bringing in assets that I have experience in a relationship with, knowing that from day one, as a new individual in a quite large organization with new faces, that I had to stabilize my place relative to how I'm going to manage the organization by surrounding myself with some known assets. And at the same time, complementing and supplementing those that are there, that are exceptional at what they do, so we become one office, one organization. We had a meeting a few weeks back where when we spoke, it was almost as though there were two different divisions. And I said, no, we are one. I am the sheriff of Maricopa. I am the sheriff-elect of Maricopa County. These individuals that will be coming to work in the organization are Maricopa County Sheriff's Office employees, no different than the others, and we have to have that collective attitude. Sure, and there's a federal agent and some others from the outside, civilian employees, but obviously my background was at Phoenix PD. There were other assets and other individuals who expressed an interest, but I made decisions based off those I felt were most qualified and suited for the mission moving forward. Those are decisions will be made until the appropriate time once I'm in office and have a chance to do a very pragmatic process to research and make decisions for the best interest of the community, for the safety, for incarceration needs and other factors. So whether it be tent city or other factors, until I can truly sit down and have a thorough evaluation, I'm not going to presume or make decisions prematurely. Yes, so those are all budgetary questions that I believe it is critically important that regardless of the industry you work in, that you are paid fairly for the sacrifice you make, especially in law enforcement and other places where you're a first responder. And in order for the sheriff's office to thrive, we have to ensure that our employees are compensated not only fairly but competitively. There are a lot of law enforcement agencies in the county and the state. I want them to choose this office because of what we represent, because the reputation is exceptional, and because they are compensated competitively. And if we fall short of that, then it's my responsibility and that of others to figure out how we can be more cost efficient to ensure they're paid fairly. I don't have the answers for that yet, Dennis, because I haven't seen all the numbers to make those kinds of decisions. But the health and well-being of the employees has to be the most important because they are the number one asset.
As far as the administration that people you're appointing right now, when you decided to let go of CSO, providing us with those?
There have been no decisions to let anyone go. Not only am I not in that place, but it would be unfair and premature for me to make those assessments. So until I'm the sheriff, my hope is not who I should let go. My hope is to see people with so much talent that I need to put them in places where they can thrive.
Besides a financial audit, are you going to do an ethical audit? I mean, some of the information that's in the news that's come out of the sheriff's office is that there may still be people there who committed crimes potentially, internal affairs investigators that didn't do their jobs, and among other major problems. Are you working with a bill to potentially look at charges for certain employees there? Or are you going to look at who did commit ethical breaches and root those people out?
Exceptional question, Ray. This office will be defined by our commitment to ethics. I spoke earlier of my chief of staff and her background as a professional experience in ethics as well as audits and inspections. That will be a core element of the organization. And anyone who is identified as having broke a rule, a law, or anything that is questionable related to those will be fairly evaluated and held accountable as deemed appropriate. Every individual in an organization of law enforcement not only represents themselves in the badge, but they reflect the man or woman standing next to them. And if they fall short of expectations, break rules, or unethical in behavior, I cannot allow for them to continue to represent their peers who are sacrificing and adhering to those rules. So ethics will be a priority. I think it's an exceptional question. My responsibility is to separate fact from fiction and to make sure that these are disciplined investigations where we know the truth and not the perception, and then address those issues as they reveal themselves. I'm sorry, could you start over again?
Do you have any changes in mind during your first few weeks as sheriff of MCSO?
I wouldn't say changes, but you'll hear from me after I take office as far as my first 100-day plan and the things that we are going to exert the majority of the focus on early on to establish this foundation. And then as things are revealed that require attention, we'll adjust course as needed. But that's something that I'll address further down the road in the near future.
Should we expect a difference within MCSO?
I don't know if I'll speak to difference. I'll just speak to my philosophy. My philosophy is I want the men and women, I want to lead by example, and I want the men and women of this organization to reflect those that they serve, to be seen as caring, compassionate people, which is who I've engaged with, who make a sacrifice every day, and what they believe most in the core of why they join law enforcement becomes the defining characteristic. And if we're not meeting that expectation and we haven't become a partner with our stakeholders, the community, the Board of Supervisors, the County Attorney's Office, and others, where this is about a partnership for the best interest of those we serve, then we're falling short. So I don't want to speak about a difference. I want to speak about a commitment by my leadership on what I will expect, be held accountable to, and then hold others accountable to. Whether it is out in the street today when I see some folks as I'm walking by having lunch and being patient and grateful and showing humility to thank them for giving me this opportunity. Same thing, it comes from anyone wearing the badge. It's a privilege, and I want that to be the defining characteristic along with the strength to keep this community safe and the conviction to do so. I'm going to take two more. Well, I think that it's my responsibility to evaluate staffing to determine who is best suited relative to what we're trying to accomplish due to their skill set and their commitment. And it's possible to stay exactly where they are. It's possible some folks may be reassigned because I feel that it serves a greater need. And those are things we'll work on together. I've had a chance to meet with many of the executive staff and get to know each other. But you can't make these decisions in a dose of a 1-hour meeting. It's over time and doing a fair evaluation. And that's something that we'll process through in the first 100 days or so, and we'll talk about further. I'm going to take one more, and then if you'd like to ask any questions of my colleagues, I'm going to see if anyone else has one first. Anyone else before I? No, actually, no, she does, but I just didn't. I was going to give some other folks a chance so that the room wasn't dominated. I don't want the media to not, we'll have our tough days. Let's not start with today. No, it's not weeding it out. It is the expectation that my behavior will match my words, which have led me to this place. Policing is the only focus. There is no place for politics. So from day one, when I take office, I expect you to hold me to that, as well as those that serve with me and for me. And if I behave in that manner, then there's no longer a challenge. The history doesn't hold me in any place. It's how I define myself moving forward. So I'd just like to close with this before, as I said, if anyone wants to ask any questions of my colleagues, it is an honor to be the sheriff-elect in this community. This is where my family has grown up. I love this community, and I take this responsibility very seriously. Because for those who came before and those who will follow, it's my responsibility to ensure that I respect the authority you've given me. Same way that it is my responsibility to show respect to the men and women who every day truly do the job. The detention officers and the deputies and the civilian staff within the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office, many who you've never seen and wouldn't know their names, are the ones making the true sacrifice. And it's time we started telling their stories so that this community can see them as the genuine, compassionate, hardworking people that they are. And I truly believe that when we start telling those stories, then we'll have a sheriff's office to be proud of, because you'll recognize how selfless they are. And for those that have fallen short, for the issues that we speak of, and I'm not going to ignore the deficiencies. If there weren't deficiencies, we wouldn't have monitors in the sheriff's office. We will address those in a partnership with the Department of Justice, with the ACLU, with the monitors, with the county attorney's office, because we are all obligated to this community to do what is right by them. And wasting taxpayer dollars unnecessarily is never smart business, and it's never good for our safety. So I look forward to you seeing the men and women doing their job in the way that you've empowered them and the way that they signed on to do, because they believe in your safety and serving you. And that's what I'm most excited about. So with that, I thank you for this opportunity. And as I said, we're going to have good days and bad days. I just look forward to working through them with you and staying focused on the best interests of the families in our community. Anyone have any questions for board or for county attorney before we close? All right. Thank you very much.
What do you think of the White Mountain case? Any comment on it?